Welcome to the Fall 2020 Ladies Big Book Study Recording Series. My name is Kimberly and I am a recovered alcoholic. I am the facilitator of a tri-weekly Big Book Study for ladies only, and we record each session so we can share the knowledge along with you. What we do is we read the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous line by line. We pause on each page and have discussion time to share our experience, our strength, and our hope on each page. You are more than welcome to follow along in this series and do the work of the steps of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. If you do need support at any time, please reach out to me in the Contact Us area of my YouTube channel, and we're happy to provide you with support. The online recordings are open to men and women. Do not be discouraged, gentlemen. Our ladies' point of view may offer you a different perspective. So welcome. I hope you enjoy. Here we go. All right, ladies, we're continuing on with amends. We find ourselves on page 80 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it goes something like this. Before taking drastic action which might implicate other people, we secure their consent. If we have obtained permission, have consulted with others, asked God to help, and the drastic step is indicated, we must not shrink. This brings to mind a story about one of our friends. While drinking, he accepted a sum of money from a bitterly hated business rival, giving him no receipt for it. He subsequently denied having received the money and used the incident as a basis for discrediting the man. He thus used his own wrongdoing as a means of destroying the reputation of another. In fact, his rival was ruined. He felt that he had done a wrong he could not possibly make right. If he opened that old affair, he was afraid that it would destroy the reputation of his partner, disgrace his family, and take away his means of livelihood. What right had he to involve those dependent upon him? How could he possibly make a public statement exonerating his rival? After consulting with his wife and partner, he came to the conclusion that it was better to take those risks than to stand before his Creator guilty of such ruinous slander. He saw that he had to place the outcome in God's hands or he would soon start drinking again, and all would be lost anyhow. He attended church for the first time in many years. After the sermon, he quietly got up and made an explanation. His action met widespread approval, and today he is one of the most trusted citizens in his town. This all happened years ago. So let's break that down. Well, the first paragraph is left over from last week and, can continue into this conversation as if it involves someone else. We need to consult with them before we bring their name into our amends, whatever it is. And, in there it says have consulted with others. Still, we're thinking of criminal things. So make sure you consult with a lawyer and God and your sponsor prior to doing anything to make wrong those rights. Now, moving into the story of one of our friends. This sounds a lot like something we all deal with, gossip. That's the best example I can give you is gossip. Now, I get a lot of amends made to me for people who have gossiped about me. Gives me a moment to take a good reflection. Why? Because if 5 people are gossiping about me, maybe I need to look and see if there's something that I'm doing that isn't right. And I usually consult with my sponsor, and I have done this especially the past 7 months, and I've said, okay, 3 people in the last 2 months have made an amends to me for gossiping. Look, can we break this down and see if there's anything that I'm doing that's triggering these people to be gossiping about me? And we did a thorough little mini step 4, and we looked into it, and we found that no, I'm just being of service. I'm helping others. I'm recovering loudly, and that's hitting a part of them that it's affecting, and they're turning around and their reaction is to gossip. I hate amends for gossip. I can't stand them. Because what does it do for me? Absolutely jack shit. Have you gone back to the 5 people you lied about me to and corrected what you said? Usually they don't. Usually all they do is come up and sit with me in a coffee shop and say, oh, and I'm not blowing smoke up my ass. I'm just saying this is how it goes down, and it's so infuriating and frustrating. And they say, oh, Kim, I see you helping so many people and I see how great you're doing and I'm jealous. And I was gossiping about you and I'm really sorry. I'm like, okay. Like, what is that? There's no corrective behavior there. Did you go into the meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous that you gossiped about me in and stand up at the podium and say, I need to make a group amends because I've been talking slanderously about a member of this group and correct it? They usually don't. And that's what this little reading brings up for me. If you are gossiping about somebody, number one, stop. Stop gossiping. Number two, instead of correcting it by telling someone you gossiped about them, which is actually causing more harm, go and tell the people that you were gossiping to that you were gossiping and lying about that person and that you feel remorseful. That's my number one, drives me up the wall. And then, of course, I have to look at it because why does it affect me when people gossip about me? Because I used to be an asshole. I used to be a jerk with bad motives. And so it hits that part of me where I just want to be helpful to my fellows. And these people are coming at me. And then I have to sit and check my motives and go, am I actually doing this for the right reasons? Yeah, I am. But why can't people see that? There we go. Not my business. What people think of me is none of my business. But gossip still sucks. It sucks hard. So, please don't gossip. It's so hurtful. And in here, of course, you look a lot better once you've come out and you make that amends publicly and say, you know what, I wasn't doing well and I was struggling and I was jealous and I was saying some things about someone that weren't probably truthful and I need to make it right. The second thing I say, if people are gossiping to you, why does somebody feel so comfortable telling you gossip? That's another thing we got to look at. I shut that shit down quick. If someone's coming to me and they're like, oh, blah, 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 unless they're in my support group and they're needing my advice on how to handle it, I got no time to listen to your gossip. Stop right there. You probably shouldn't be telling me this. And so we have to really look at who we're talking to about people. It is okay if you are in a step group or you have a small circle of supportive members of Alcoholics Anonymous when you don't know how to handle a situation and you talk to them about it. That is a closed, trusted circle. If anybody in that circle breaks confidence, they're out. I have a circle of trust, similar to that movie. What is it? What's that movie with the circle of trust with Robert De Niro? The Fockers. Yeah. I actually have it in my AA little folder here. Where's my AA folder? I have my little circle of trust. There I am in the middle. That's me. This next circle is my Step 10 buddies and my sponsor. Then we've got the next circle. That's my stepsisters. That's my sponsees. Good news goes downstream. Bad news goes upstream. So if I've got something negative in my life going on, I'm going to call my Step 10 buddies who are equal to me or a little bit before me, like trusted spiritual advisor people or my sponsor. If I got good stuff going on, that goes downstream. I tell my sponsees all my good stuff. Why? Because we're trying to lift them up. So after that is like, the peripheral, the stepsisters, the sponsees. My close friends, like Helen's going to be on both of these circles. And then out here is my acquaintances. People that I'm friendly with, people that I'm okay, good terms with. And then out here is everybody else. And then off the paper is everybody who's fucking gossiped about me and wronged me. You don't even get on the paper when you're out there. And so there's a level of trust in each of these circles. And there's things that I'm very conscious of when I go to talk to somebody, where they sit in this ranking. Because there's certain people that, when they're out here, they might be trying to get in here. And sometimes what happens is people say things about people to try to earn your trust. It's really messed up. But gossiping isn't actually a way to earn trust, even though people somehow think if I tell you a secret about somebody else, you're going to trust me more. Oh, no. You get banished off the paper, right? So we have to be really careful when we're talking about people, who we're talking about people to. I know that there's certain people in my close circle that I can say things to that it's not going to leave that person. Sometimes I need to vent. Sometimes I just need to get things off my chest. And I need to have trusted people that I can say that to. And that's not gossip. But if I'm running around, I'm like, oh, to 10 different people, that is gossip. So if somebody's gossiping to you, please ask yourself why they feel comfortable enough to telling you this stuff. Anne-Marie?
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie. I'm an alcoholic. Two things, Kim. First of all, where you say when they gossip, they don't go back to ungossip, if I can invent a word. I remember a scene in a Star Trek, because I'm a Trekkie, episode. I won't go into the scene, but basically what it was someone had publicly humiliated someone else and then privately apologized. And the person said, I'm sorry, but I do not accept private apologies to public humiliations.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with the gossip. You hurt me publicly, you're going to have to apologize publicly. And that's it. But to get back to what we're talking about actually in the book, you need the consent of any third party who might be hurt by an amends you make to someone. And I understand that. I agree with it entirely. But what if they don't consent? What do you do with that amends? Do you pay it out to the universe?
Consult with God and your sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you still need the consent of that third person.
Not if you're talking to your sponsor and God. Your sponsor should be a trusted person that you can tell something to. So if you have someone, so if I have an amends that I need to make, but it involves someone else, say myself and someone else did something and I want to make it right. And they say, heck no, I'm not ready for that. I'm like, okay. So I could even say to the person that I'm asking, how should I make it right then? What do you suggest? And then go to my sponsor and meditate to God. How can I make this right without throwing this other person under the bus?
Okay.
Sitting in meditation and asking, because usually weird shit happens in this fellowship where if I ask someone a question because I'm looking for a consult on an issue, usually that person has dealt with it. It's really weird how it happens, but usually I'll say, hey, I have this situation and I really don't know what to do. Can you offer some guidance? And I tell them the situation. They'll usually say, oh yeah, that happened to me 20 years ago and this is how I had to deal with it. It's really weird how this program works.
Yeah, but don't you, whether you've talked to God and your sponsor afterwards, don't you still need that third party's consent?
Not if you're not bringing them into the conversation. If you can find a creative way to make the amends without bringing them into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's on you to find a way.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
Or if there is no way, the book says we just remain willing and keep praying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. The whole key of this is willingness. If we are willing to do it, when we can find a solution. Marianne, Toronto.
Hi, friends. I am an alcoholic from Toronto. My name's Marianne. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be sober today. The one thing that really stuck out to me today was standing before my creator. So if I get that visual, then that usually puts me in the mind that, oh, this is not cool. It's funny. I've had to deal with this a lot lately, and I have such a good group of people around me because I was getting played by somebody that was in the program, and I felt like I was, but I wasn't sure. So I went to another lady that I trusted, and it had happened to her too. So then I was worried about, like, is this gossip? And she said, no, this is a something, like, I was really struggling with it. So I felt okay with that. But it's interesting because I noticed with my group and the people around me, they don't usually come up to me after they've tried it once, and they come up and go, oh, did you hear this or did you hear that? And I'm not interested. I don't really talk to those people anymore. And at first I kind of went, and I was telling somebody I was helping the other day. I said, you know what? I just kind of stick to recovery that I would like, and if I don't, it's not a popularity contest. We're not in high school anymore. Um, and if somebody's saying or doing that, it's just I don't want what you have. So and people kind of stay away from you naturally that way. So it doesn't really hurt me anymore because I'm on a life and death program here, right? So I'm not going to screw with the instructions at all. So, but thank you for bringing that up about checking with someone because I was having a hard time with this and I knew I was getting played and it was a member of AA and I get things twisted up pretty fast. So I felt very not relieved, but I felt that I could trust what sometimes I call my God something was telling me that it was off. But I did have to check with someone about it. So thanks for letting us know that. It was great share.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? If you've got that feeling, that is your barometer, right? That's your God barometer. If you got that feeling, something ain't right. Something ain't right. I'm telling you, there's something not right about it. And you know what? Somebody said to me, oh, well, we can't talk about someone if they're not present. That's gossip. I'm like, that's not true. I need to be able to counsel with people that are in my inner circle that I trust when I feel that feeling. Because otherwise, I'm setting myself up, right? So, there has to be people that you can trust that you talk to. Make yourself a little small support circle. Mine's like 6 people deep, and I have several. So, certain things I talk to certain people, like Della and Andrea are my talk tos about certain things that happen with the online stuff. And then I've got my core group that are like my real life day-to-day go-tos, right? And then of course, Be All End All is my sponsor. My sponsor doesn't have time to listen to my dating shit. She wants, she don't want to listen to me. Oh, this guy, like that's my girls. I got my tight girls that I talk to about that stuff. So, we gotta be really, we get good at it once we practice. Karen P.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering when you said, like somebody would come to you in a coffee shop and make that amend, to tell you well, I'm sorry, Kimberly, I was gossiping about you the other day, and I just wanted to tell you so I could apologize. Isn't part of the amends you're supposed to ask the person that you're apologizing to, what can I do to make that right? And then you should step in at that point and tell them, yes, I want you to go to whoever it was or the group of people that you were talking to me about and tell them you were wrong. And then that way, because they got it. Isn't that right? Are we supposed to ask can we do to make it up to you or no, they don't have to?
No, I've shared that before. I do not like that part of the way people direct people to make amends. I do not like it when people are like, how can I make it right for you? You should be offering a way to make it right to the person. Like if I go up to someone and I say, hey, Karen, I just wanted to let you know, I was gossiping about you. I feel really bad about it. And I've already gone and told the 3 people I gossiped about you to that I lied. I should already be offering that, right? Or if I took money, right? Karen, I really regret something. I stole $50 from your purse when we were at the coffee shop last time. I didn't have any money to pay my bills and get groceries. And you went to the bathroom and I took $50 out of your purse. Here's $50. You should be offering something up. I have told a story about how amends have gone wrong, and I do not like it when people fall on their knees in their sword and say, how can I make it right for you? And the other person's going to be like, wow, there was a bad situation and it didn't go well. We told that story. Now, you should already be offering something. If it's the case of money and you don't know how much you owe, you can say, I was in my alcoholism and I really lost track of how much I owe you. Could we figure out a sum that works best for both of us? But you don't want to be on your feet groveling. How can I make it right? It doesn't go well. And when people do this, they usually are like, I need to make an amends for gossiping about you. You know, I was really jealous and you helped so many people and I was talking badly about you. And then they're like, okay, I hope we can be friends. No, we're not going to be friends now because you've completely broken my trust. I'm not going to bring you into my circle. You're gone. And B, I'm like, so did you go correct what you said? And they usually go, huh? What? I'm like, did you correct what you said? And they're like, I'm blunt. And I'm like, not gonna. And they're just like, well, no. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I just don't say anything. Like, it's
Okay, so that person should have really came to you and said, I'm making an amends to you, but I've already told the other people what I did, and I just feel horrible about it.
absolutely.
So
That would be
I have to make amends. If I have to make an amends, I should always go there with a remedy to what I'm making my amends for.
absolutely. Yeah. If you
Okay.
stole $50 from my purse, you should be sitting down with $50. You know, I feel really bad for taking $50. Here's your $50 back, right? Or, you know, I kept stealing your lipsticks from the bathroom and, you know, I think I stole some scarves from you. I no longer have them, but here's a gift card to Kroger. Go buy yourself some lipstick and scarves, right? You should be coming with some offer if you've done something, you know, and if I've gossiped, I should have corrected it before I come to you. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go tell those people I lied about you next week. Oh, okay, great. I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. And anybody who's going to believe gossip about you isn't worth your time either. That's another thing I should say. I know my truth. I know my motives. I know my intentions. I'm right with God. So if you want to talk shit about me, I don't care. Right? That took me a while to get that mindset. Leslie P went to the bathroom. So Joanne, you're next. She's disappeared.
Joanne, I'm an alcoholic addict. You know, this is a simple program, but it's not easy. And, you know, the spiritual awakening is paying attention to ourselves. And I call people on it, you know, in the sense of how is this affecting you? You know, like what's the motive? What's the investment? Because we're here to change. We're here to change. And some of that stuff means like just grow up. And the only way you're going to grow up is to take a look at, you know, what you're doing and why you're doing it. And a lot of it is based on, you know, fear not good enough, you know, and own it. Just own it, you know. And I've been in a couple of situations, but one in particular where I went out for breakfast with a couple of people and they, you know, they started and I just was like, you know, we don't do that. We don't talk this way. Is there something bothering you? You know, own it. If it's not bothering you, then why are we talking about it? How are you? How are you doing? You know, and some of it is also just, you know, at some point on the fourth step, people, places, and things, but also the indoctrination of how women are supposed to interact with women. You know, we compete with each other. You know, you walk into a room, who's the prettiest, who's the youngest, who's the sexiest. Oh, I hate her. You know, all this sort of stuff. And that's the shit that keeps us from helping each other. And if you want to stay sober, there's going to come a time, maybe it's the only prettiest girl that can answer the phone when you want to pick up a drink. You know, so all this gossip just is a way that I see divides us. And it's old behavior. I call it street behavior. You know, and so let's knock down the other women so that we can rise, you know, and it's like, no, we don't do that here. We're sisters. We're sisters. We take care of each other. We support each other. And again, what the steps and ask us to do is get honest what's going on for us. You know, because a lot of this game playing just does not serve us. makes more enemies than I go to a meeting where there's a group of older women, long timers, and they're constantly talking about their tribe. I want to friggin' scream because you go have your book club, go have your tea parties, but do not walk into an open meeting of AA and talk about your women, your tribe, because that's not welcoming. That's like, okay, I'm never going to be able to like be a part of them, screw you, you know? And so again, we have to be careful, especially with people with time, how it's so easy to go find our girlfriends and talk and all this sort of stuff. But we harm newcomers when we when we bring our social club into a meeting. I think I'm done ranting. I'm sorry.
Yup. And I like this topic I could talk about for like 2 hours, right? And you know what? Like, I've got girls that'll come to me because no one else will work with them and they've relapsed over and over and over and over and over again. And you know what? The number one thing that's taking them out, they're trying to be part of that social club and the girls that don't invite them to effing dinner. It drives me up the fucking wall. All they want is to be part of, and they're like, "Well, all those cool girls, and I want to be part of the cool girls." And then they're getting taken out, and then the new cool girls are shunning them for relapsing, and it's just like, holy macaroni! I want to pull my hair out. And all they do is they're toxic, and they gossip, and they go out for dinner, and they post pictures of their little tribe, and I just want to shake them, right? And it's like, you know what? A girl's like, well, I go, okay, well, what meetings do you go to? Who are you hanging out with? I can tell you right now what your recovery looks like by what meetings you go to on what night of the week and who you've been trying to have dinner with. Abso-freaking-lutely. I'm like, oh yeah, social recovery. Yep, how'd that work out for you? Oh, you drank again. No shit. And it drives me mental. Gossip is so hurtful and it kills people. I have people that gossip about me and actually tell people not to choose me to be their sponsor because they're jealous of the recovery I have. That's ludicrous. Like, ludicrous. I could shake those people, but thank God I'm having to pause in this program. Leslie.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning, ladies, and afternoon. Leslie, alcoholic, and I came in late. I was at the doctor's about that darn Airman, so had a ear infection since August, so finally getting it seen to. One was the circle I had a question about. I didn't know where we were with that, and so I do understand about the inner circle. I've got people where I trust them absolutely, and but I'm also living with an active alcoholic who says, I heard so and so told me a secret. No, that's all in your imagination. Just wipe that out for a second. But gossipers in the Bible, and I'm just going to make a reference, sorry about the Bible, but gossipers are equated with murderers and thieves. So if you get that wrapped around your head, that will stop you dead in your tracks from gossiping, or it should. So yeah, to be in the club, to be in the, oh God, that's so juvenile. Like, as far as I'm concerned, if you take me for what I am, I mean, I'm trying to live a good, decent life. I don't need, a shitstorm coming at me because, and it's usually what I got a sister who usually does that, a biological sister. Oh, she said, it's like, piss off, So what I wanted to ask you, because I know I missed a lot, I missed a lot in the summertime, and I'm going through this a second time. I wanted to ask you about the process of step recovery, because I've been at meetings where women have said, or men have said, oh yeah, I'm doing my step 4. This is my 4th time doing my step 4. Oh, I'm doing step 5 now. I'm working on my 8, 9, and 10. I'm having a problem with the labeling of these steps. Like, if you're in the program for recovery, don't some overlap one another, and then you might go back and remember something that, oh, this occurs to me and I got to go fix that, and you're still carrying on because it just, I'm getting bogged down with all these labels with the steps and the timing of it and stuff like that. I don't want to get bogged down. I'm a little bit of a free spirit, so if I figure that I'm in a safe place with God, and I'm talking to my Lord, right, about stuff that's coming up, then I just want to be at peace with that. And then if I get reminded to go and make an amends to something, okay, yeah, I got to make sure I do that. That's okay. That's my question out there.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to say, I just want to say one other thing about when you get this feeling about a person that you want to talk about that person, or this person comes on your mind. Sometimes that is a burden to pray for that person, because that person is going through some shit, and you don't know why out of the blue that person comes to your mind. And this occurred to me, an old boyfriend. I was thinking about this guy, and I thought, oh, why do I have to think about him? I think it was God telling me that I really had to pray for him, because then I found out that his son, 28 years old, died of an overdose. Just saying, sometimes God speaks to us in those little ways. So that's all I got to say. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, so number one, gossip is bad, terrible. Yes, we're on that conversation. Number two, I'm going to answer your question really quick because I have this rule, whereas if it comes up, we got to look at it real quick, because that's God's way of using me as a tool to get this message to you and whomever else needs to hear it. If we want to go into this conversation deeper, we can do it after the meeting, but I'm just going to touch on it quick and watch how quick I can whip you guys through a 12-step. Okay? So the thing is, with the 12 steps, you are meant to go through them and understand them. And then you're meant to perfect them, progress, not perfection, for the rest of your life. Practice these principles in all our affairs. So this is how it goes. We're like, number one, we admitted we're powerless over alcohol and our lives became unmanageable. When I start drinking, I can't control how much I drink. When I try to stop, I can't. You're probably alcoholic. Okay, great. Let's move on to number two. Number two, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. I see all of you saying that you use this program and this God and you've overcome this powerlessness. Okay, I can try. All right, perfect. Three, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. All right, so you're telling me that if I make this decision to do these 12 steps and try to live under God's light, that I'm going to be okay. Okay, I'm going to make that decision. Oh, you'll refund my misery 100% if I don't like it? Cool, even better. All right, move on to number four. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Pick a situation, person, or thing. Write out all 5 columns. Look at how the fear has dominated me. All right, great, done. Moving on to number 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. All right, well, here we go. I got some fear. When I'm in fear, I act this way. And as a result, these are the things that happened in my life. Okay, I told you, I told God, we're good. Next, 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. Why? Because I just saw how fear has ruined my entire life and brought me misery. Great, I'm willing to get rid of it. It's not serving me. Let's go to 7. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. Hey, God, this fear crap, it's fucking me up. Could you take it away? Sure, all right, great. Let's move on to 8. Made a list of people we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. All that conduct I did hurt a lot of people. Here's a list of all those people. You know what? I think I'm willing to go make amends to them. These ones, not so much. Maybe I should pray for them. All right, cool. 9, let's go out and make those amends to those people we're ready to make amends to. The rest we're going to keep praying for. Great, let's move on to 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. So repeat 4 through 9 throughout my day to make sure my side of the street is clean. Perfect. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying for knowledge of his will for me and the power to carry that out. Okay, so you're telling me to pray and meditate each day to get me closer to God and direct my life in the way he would have me live it and help others as I go. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these 12 steps, tried to carry this message to other alcoholics and practice these principles in all my affairs. I'm just going to keep doing this till I die. And I'm going to tell you how awesome it is as I go along. There's the 12 steps in, 3 minutes? You've done a set of steps. Now go practice it in your life. Study the book and carry the message. You're done. If you have a question, we'll talk about it after the meeting and we can get into it in further detail. Basically, it's figure this out, apply it to your life, and keep doing it. And it'll get easier and easier and easier and better and better and better, and your life will get amazing. And guess what? The thought of drink disappears. That's the formula for success. Marianne, you had your hand up, and then you put it down. We're back to topic.
Well, how am I going to follow that up? And I love it. Thank you very much. But all I was going to say was I was taught that this program is portable and that I have to take it outside of these rooms too. And that includes gossip. And I'm around people that are not alcoholics and are spiritually sick people that like to gossip. So I do need to get a lot of guidance with that too, because I have to see these people. I don't want to, but I have to. And I have to realize that they are sick people. They don't have a program. I don't engage, and I can be a good example of how to live a life, a spiritual growth life. But yeah, it's portable, and I have to remember that. It's not just in these rooms that I got to watch my mouth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's everywhere. And I got into gossip my 3rd year of recovery. I was trying to fit in with the Joneses, right? And I got caught up in it. And then I got so caught up, I was like, whoa, this is terrible. And I had to remove myself. It took 2 weeks to get myself out of all of these toxic entanglements that I had gotten myself up with. And I had to explain to my sponsees that what we were doing was not right. And the analogy I came up with is a mud puddle. When you get into gossip, you get into the mud. And when you get into the mud, you cannot get out clean. If I get out of the mud, I leave a track of mud behind me. And then what happens to that mud that I've left behind me? Other people zigzag through it. And now that mud gets even more splattered. And then try cleaning up mud, just like cleaning up pudding on the counter. It smears everywhere. So don't get in the mud. And that's what I tell my sponsees. If you can get out of that mud puddle without making a mess, good on ya. But you can't. And when you spread that mud, the mud just gets everywhere. And then, there's this one little splatter of mud over there and it cakes on and you can't get rid of it. And so unless you can get out of that mud puddle clean and clear, don't get in. Don't get in the mud puddle. And just like dating, make sure you've got crystal clear waters before you dip your feet in or snaggly tooth things come up and bite ya. Very clear intentions, very clear motives. Make sure that the water is clear before you dip your big toe in or you're going to get bit. Those are my 2 favorite analogies. Anne-Marie.
Hi, it's me again. If we can go back to the cliques, as I call them, you call them the society fellowship or society social recovery. It took me almost 10 years to get out of that entanglement, to realize what it was. And another light just came on listening to you, and I think it was Joanne who was talking about it, right? I actually at one point complained to my sponsee or whined or whatever that why is it I'm not making all these friends I hear about? Why is it I'm not being asked out for dinner and what have you? And she said, I don't know, dear. I don't know why. I was going after the cool girls. And I don't need them to be cool and know I'm cool. But it took me 10 years to figure that out. Why waste the time? If I can point it out to a sponsee early, I'm going to do it. Who are you hanging out with? What meetings are you going to? It's vital because it soured my recovery for a long, long time. I became disillusioned with AA, and that's not a good place to be. So that's vital. Thank you, ladies, for this huge aha moment.
Absolutely. And like two more things about that, because I suffered from it too. Why am I not getting invited? These girls would say, "Oh my God, Kim, we love you so much." But then I would see their Facebook posts and I would never get invited. And sometimes we just vibe a little differently than other people. And that's okay. And the other thing is what effort am I making to be their friend? Am I calling these people, inviting them out for coffee, or am I sitting here waiting for this grand invitation to show up at my door? You know, if you're wondering why you're not getting invited anywhere, ask yourself, who am I inviting someplace? If I am never calling anyone, no wonder no one's ever calling me. And you know what? Make your own dinner. I had so many sponsees that were so concerned about never being invited anywhere. I started a tradition of once a month girls' night out. And COVID ruined that. But Friday nights, once a month, we would pick a beautiful restaurant and we would get dressed up and we would go there. And the first time we had 10 people and it got up to 20 women that were going once a month on Fridays. And then COVID happened and now we're not allowed to gather. But, you know, we just made our own dinner. And then we posted pictures and we all got dressed up, and that filled that void for those girls that felt like they weren't included, right? We can have our own dinners too. I have a Misfit Christmas dinner every year prior to COVID. So yeah, I say, you know, they're like, nobody ever calls me. I'm like, who do you call? Friendship is a two-way street. I'm not that special that people are going to be calling me, inviting me to grace their dinners, right? I need to call and ask people for coffee as well. I need to call and make lunch dates with my friends as well. We need to put in some effort if we want to receive. Same as with dating, right? I'm not just standing here looking pretty, getting all these guys coming at me. Not that I want any guys coming at me, but, you know, we have to, it's a two-way street. I'm not that special. We're really not. Okay, we're going to be moving on to domestic troubles in dating, and I don't think 16 minutes is long enough for that conversation to start. So I think we should end today on the gossip. So if anybody has anything else they want to add to the conversation, now would be the time, because I don't think that we should move on to the dating amends yet. Mary B? Whoops, did I?
Hi, guys.
There you are.
Mary, alcoholic. I'm sorry if we've already covered this, and tell me if we have, but could we go through maybe a definition of what entails gossip? Because there's some that's real obvious, right? When you're doing it, and then there's some where you might be, say, inquiring about how someone else is doing. Like, is there any way you could sort of like break that down for what you feel?
Right. And sometimes we mean well and we don't mean to, right? Like with your asking if someone's okay, you don't have to go into detail. So I could say, hey, Mary, have you heard from Della lately? I've been really busy and I haven't connected with her. I don't have to call and be like, Della was having so many personal problems. Oh my God, she's probably relapsed. Have you heard from her? That's gossip. But the first is make it more about you than them, right? Like, oh, I've been so busy. Have you talked to Della lately? If it's my immediate circle, I have a group chat with my immediate circle, and I can say something like, hey, I heard Della got broken up with. Has anyone heard from her in the past 4 days? But that's going to be to my tight circle, so that's not gossip. If I start calling 10 people, that's gossip. If I call 2 people, it's not, right? So there's different situations, and it depends who you're talking to. If you're at a meeting and you're just like, oh my God, I haven't seen so-and-so forever. I heard that, so-and-so broke up with them, and like, oh my God, I bet you they relapsed. That's gossip. But if you say to one person that you know is a close contact, hey, I heard that Della got dumped. Have you heard from her? I'm concerned. That's different, right? So it's just how we are doing it. If your motives is that you're concerned and you're asking specific people in a side of the room conversation, you should be okay. Or you'd be like, oh, that Kim, she right? Because we're good at this shit. Like, we knew who to tell things to that they would tell other people. We can't engage in that type of behavior, right? I don't know whose hands were up next. Amy, we haven't heard from you yet. Go next.
Hi, Kim. Hey, I just love your meetings, and I started on step 8 today. And so, this came up where I just have a question because with my first sponsor, I made the mistake of, having my boyfriend's best friend, a female, sponsor me my first time around. And she broke confidence with me and told him some of the stuff that I told her in confidence after she swore up and down that I could trust her. She wouldn't tell a single soul about my step 4 and stuff like that. And so I want to forgive her, but this is hard. I feel like she's talking about me behind my back after swearing confidence. And then is it on me that I picked this person to be my sponsor because I was desperate? Or, what step can I take here to free myself from this?
Well, first off, not to shift blame because we're going to try to find you, but if someone asked me to sponsor them and I'm too close, it's my responsibility to say no. If someone came to me, like if you were dating my best friend, I'd say, you know what, this is too close. I'm not the right fit for this. Let me help you find someone. Marianne in Toronto is great. Let me connect you to her. Right? Because I know that that's going to be too close. Like one of my step 10 buddies is really good friends with my ex. So if I talk to her about him, I'm affecting her relationship with him. And our book tells us we need to find someone not affected. So when looking for somebody, I need to find someone not affected. My sponsor lives in the States. She don't know nobody in my circle. So when I call her, like she doesn't know who or what I'm talking about. In closed communities, if you're picking a sponsor within your community, someone that's not affected is someone with long time sobriety that practices the traditions that you can see, that you know isn't going to be affected. Like me, nothing really affects me, but I still wouldn't want to hear about one of my close people in a 4. Mm-hmm. So as a responsible member, I should decline. As much as I want to be helpful and supportive of you, if you're my best friend or dating my friend, I'm too close. So we need to find someone removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, I feel like she offered to sponsor me so she could get some dirt on me, maybe. Well, I don't know.
We don't know. Most people just want to be helpful. And if she did that, that's on her and whatever her motives were. But most of us just want to be helpful. Some of us just want sponsees. And so, first one to pop up, we're like, I'll help you. Pick me, right? When really we should be responsible and say, I don't think I'm the right fit for you. Especially if someone has certain things in their past that I have no experience to or whatever. I need to be that responsible member that stands up and says, I don't think I'm the right fit for you, but I know Bev and I know Marianne. And, I have a lot of girls, I'm 43, that come to me and they're like, I want you to be my sponsor. And they're 22. I've got strong sponsees that I can say, you know what? I'd love to be your grand sponsor. How's about you give Maddie a try? And I'll pass them on to a sponsee where I'm still in the lineage, but I'm removed because I'm too old for 21-year-old stuff. I don't know what goes on in 21-year-olds' heads no more. Y'all are too technically advanced for me. But I have strong sponsees that I can pass them to. So, yeah, it's just about being responsible. Look for someone that's practicing the traditions, right? Look for someone that's carrying themselves as a woman with dignity and honor. Yeah, that's my biggest tip.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bev, we haven't heard from you yet today.
How's everybody doing? This is Bev, grateful recovered alcoholic. I just wanted to quickly read the AA dictionary definition of gossip. And this was written by Bill W. These are his definitions. And it says, rumor or talk of a personal, sensational, or intimate nature. Sensational and often groundless talk about others. Trivial, chatty talk or writing. A person habitually engaged in such talk. So that sums it up pretty well right there, what the true definition is. And that's the difference in what you were talking about with the personal circle and the clicky. And there's so many new people now especially, they don't understand that. They haven't gotten to a place yet where they can differentiate that they're actually gossiping. It took me a minute, and I worked in a place, I was fortunate to be able to retire this year, but I worked in a place that gossip was rampant. And it had nothing to do with AA, but it was rampant. But I had to learn in sobriety how to remove myself from those situations. And, every now and then I would hear it over here in the corner, and I'd be like, and then I'd have to just get up and walk away for a minute and be like, maybe you guys got something to do or something else. But it's not an easy thing in the beginning, especially when we're so broken when we get here. That's all I got.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, recently I had a situation where someone in my orbit relapsed and they were in a relationship. And so I posted in my little support group chat, can someone check on the other person? Because I'm too close to the male in the relationship, but we need to also support the female. And someone said, oh, you're gossiping. I said, no, I'm not. This is a closed group of 6 people, and 2 of us are supporting the boy, and someone needs to call and check on the girl. We're not going to compare notes. That would be gossip. But we're just saying, can someone please check on her, because we're dealing with him, because I'm too close to deal with both. I can't. I need to be responsible enough to step back. Diane.
Hi, thank you very much. Yes, I feel like I'm getting, this is fantastic, really helpful to me. First, let me just say that. Secondly, I want to say, yes, the things that I really responded to was, it's so important to include everyone, whether you go to dinner afterwards, have a cup of coffee someplace, whatever. I feel so bad for people left out. It's not fair, because they're there, they probably drink because they feel weird and different and left out and alienated. And then to not pick that up right away seems crazy. So I really applaud that behavior. And also what you said about not calling other people, I sort of got sober way later in life, and so therefore I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a little bit lost. Do some photography. I'm trying to get pictures together from the 80s and do a book. I'm so confused. My point is, I say, oh, nobody calls me. And then I realize that their lives are busier than mine. Maybe they have kids or they have a full-time job. And I take everything personally, like, oh, they don't like me. I'm not successful enough for them. They're more whatever. Taking things personally is the other side of the coin. But as far as the gossip goes, gossip is a function of not having enough going on in your own life. When you're busy doing good things, whether it's a career that perhaps you like, helping other sponsees, or things like that, you don't even want to gossip because you're so engaged in things that are upbeat and positive. And so that tells me that it's just a good topic, and everyone, to be gossiped about is almost a compliment. It means that sometimes it's because they're just jealous, and they're like, but I think in the United States we have crazy political stuff which we won't talk about, other than to say one thing, is the people that speak up, it's integrity. When you have integrity, you've done the right thing, then you're A-okay. So that's all I want to share. You're A-okay if you do just work with integrity, and everything else, people will always judge you. And with that, I say I judge everyone as wonderful people here. May I do that? And I thank you, wonderful people.
Thank you so much, Diane. Yeah, you know what? And when we did our tradition studies, we showed gossip is in contravention of tradition 1. And it's super harmful to AA and deunifying. So, learning the traditions and practicing those in my life was a big step for me to get away from gossip. It's a really good barometer of somebody's recovery. if you're involved in gossip, I'm worried about your recovery, because you're not spiritually fit, right? So it can be a really good barometer on where you're at, and those traditions can really help. But as far as gossip being a compliment, I don't see it that way at all. I mean, I've worked really hard to get where I'm at in life, and I can tell you in the past 7 months, gossip has brought me to tears. And I'll say, Joe was really good at picking me back up, because gossip hurts. Doesn't matter how strong you are, doesn't matter how spiritually fit you are, doesn't matter how correct your motives are, gossip hurts. And it's affected me a lot, and it makes me question why I do some of the stuff I do, which can be harmful to others. My motives are to be helpful to other people, and gossip makes me want to stop. And so, I gossip gets me. I don't like it at all. Kayla.
Hey, so one, I didn't know. I thought this steps were just this huge thing, and I needed this booklet of paper and fill out the package. And so I was on 164 and Beyond, and I connected with this gal, and she called me. She's like, "Do you have a minute?" Literally within 5 minutes, she's like, "Okay, step 1, step 2, step 3." And then we went through them. I'm going to call her back this afternoon. But I didn't realize that they could be done so promptly. And I really like that. And now I feel super yesterday I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. I can't wait every Wednesday to talk to my sponsor and go through the big book. That's not enough time for me. I need this every single day. So now that I've got a little bit of a layout on how to do it, I feel super confident to keep going and actually take ownership for my shit. Someone said needing to learn how to remove yourself from those situations. So obviously in my drinking days, gossip was the thing that I did. That has definitely not been in my past 33 days of sobriety at all. But now that we're talking about this, I'm realizing it's a scary thing for me, because I would gossip in such a toxic way when I was drinking. And that's certainly I feel why would I gossip now? But I know that that's still a defect for a lot of people. So this was a super good topic for me, just to what people think of me isn't my business. And I liked what you said, Kim, about when you're gossiping, you're in the mud, you're unclean, it spreads, and it's hard to get out of the mess. And that's certainly not something I want in my recovery. So I'm really glad that this is laid out for me. And I think that's it. I really like this topic today. This is awesome.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Yeah, and if you read Bill's story, you'll see that in Bill's story, Abby basically did what I did to you guys with my little bookmark over Bill's alcohol at the table. So Bill was drunk as a skunk, and Abby went through the 12, back then it was the 6 tenets, whatever, but Abby laid it out, and Bill went, yeah, I want that. So just like I just did, listing it out, Abby did that. Probably a little bit longer because Bill was drinking. Yeah. And then Bill goes, yeah, I wanted that. And Bill went to detox, and then he started to look at it and implement it. And then he went on and wrote the book, right? Yeah. So it starts here. I can take you through 1, 2, 3 and have you started on 4 in a matter of an hour, and people are dying. People are dying right now, and they don't have the time to wait till Thursday night step group at Mary Sue's house with tea and crumpets to go through the book. They need to be triaged like Bill was, get a foundation, and then they can study the book, and then they can perfect it and enlarge their spiritual life through working with others and looking into it more and asking questions like we do here, and seeking guidance from their spiritual advisor or sponsor. And that's how it's laid out in the book. That's what we do around here, and it works real good.
I'm liking it.
Glad you're here. And if you have any questions, you can always find me. All right, ladies, that brings